All right, everybody, welcome to our Go Team weekly coach call. Thank you so much for being here. Very excited for this particular one. We've got some amazingness in the house, which is great. It's nice to be called amazingness, right, Jamie? But anyway, it is. I'm very excited because first of all, Jamie is just an amazing guy, but we just developed a really cool friendship here on social media. Over the months, we've been kind of knowing each other, which has been great. I wanted to just give everybody the quick reminder again. The Go Team exists, guys, and I think if we and always head back to this place, and always putting kind of the why before the what, it's going to help us know helps us kind of decipher what we're going to do if we have some rubrics. And so for me, it's just really about equipping and inspiring busy coaches. And if we can have that as sort of our filter for things. So I really wanted to, so we're going to equip you tonight and hopefully inspire you both, which is why we do these team calls. And then also with the essentials. So the big thing that we don't want to do is send coaches on like the rabbit trails, because there are a billion rabbit trails that potentially you can seek out. And whatever's shiny and new in the coach network sometimes can be very tempting for coaches to like see it and go, oh my gosh, we've got to do that too. And what we're trying to do is to do a better job of keeping the system set. And then if we do find something that's new and we're not just going to ignore it, but we'll actually be critical about it and decide if this is helpful for our team, right? And then ultimately do the essentials to help build freedom-bringing businesses, okay? Freedom-bringing businesses. And Jamie, even today, and we'll talk a little bit more about this is Jamie's first day of semi-retirement from an official corporate job to do Beachbody full-time. So this is freedom building or freedom bringing for him in the fact that his time freedom is now set, which is great, in addition to some financial freedom certainly as well. That help people achieve their goals and live healthy, fulfilling lives, which is, of course, is Beachbody's whole mission statement as a whole. Okay, so that's how we fit once again in as Go Team, and we'll go from there. So shout out to the new coaches getting on. I'm not sure how many we have new. I know we got Valerie's relatively new. We got some folks on here. Kate's definitely newish, and Kate, you have a glow about you right now. The light's hitting you just right, which is amazing. Look at and the jazz hands to go with it. That was amazing. They're sparkling. That was amazing. Okay, so good stuff. Feedback. Sean Wick. What? That was crazy. All right, so raise your hand. Can you raise your flag? You guys know how to do that? Like raise your flag. Did you do Sean Wick? Did you do Sean Wick? Raise your hand. Raise your hand. And if you didn't, it's okay. It's all right. Sean Wick was pretty crazy, and I want to definitely get some feedback from you guys. So I'm going to open up the lines real quick here. Let's hear from you. What did you like about Sean Wick, and what did you learn? Guess where I got that from? John Maxwell, who is just it was a Success Club kind of prize, gave us a webinar about one thing that he has a takeaway that I'm going to probably use for the rest of my days. First of all, he asks his grandkids this specific thing in every experience that they do together is, what did you like and what did you learn? I'm like, man, first of all, I want John Maxwell to be my grandpa. That'd be amazing. But then having that wisdom, come on, parents, really? Those two, instead of like, oh, what didn't you like? What was awful? And let's be cynical about it. Or, hey, what did you like? It puts the emphasis on what, and then what'd you learn? And it could be one of those things where it's like, oh, that thing, I went to whatever, and I didn't really like this part of it, and this is why, because I learned this. You know what I mean? Which is pretty cool. Okay, so what'd you like? What'd you learn? Let's just take about a couple real quick here, if you wouldn't mind. Claire, looks like you were ready to say something. You got something?
Yes.
Yeah, what'd you learn?
I learned dig deep and don't give up. And he just really just kept me going. And that's one thing. It's like when I was just about ready to quit a move, he would just say it right then, and it would just keep me going to that last 10 seconds or so. So
Yeah. That's definitely one thing. Like Sean certainly keeps going. Like, I mean, the difference between say, hey, and just because I've been doing P90X3 between him and say Tony is he will like there's no space, man. He is just like, go, words, and he's encouraging, which is okay.
Yep.
That's good. So Kelsey says, I learned that even though I had to modify, she's pregnant, didn't mean that I failed. And you don't have to be perfect on this journey. Perfect is temporary, but change is constant. Ooh, yep, that was definitely a quote right from Sean. And Sean is massive. Yes, Jeanette, that's so true. Steph, anything real quick from you? What'd you like? What'd you learn? Anything specific from Sean? You got any words of wisdom as you help lead that for us?
I don't know about wisdom, but I liked it. I like the length of them. I like the intensity. I like the boot camp style. I like his style. I like, like you said, he doesn't stop. He doesn't stop with the movements. He doesn't stop with the words either. And there's no end, it seems like, sometimes when you're working out to Sean.
Yeah.
It's a good burn. It's a good burn.
Absolutely. And you know what? I love that ending. I posted this in our group as well, but that Andra, when she finished at the end of that and was able to like just kind of getting teared up, and it just made that moment, which I thought was really, really powerful for us to experience. The fact that like even on these videos, and and there were spots where it's like, Sean, are you gonna cue us on the next move? Come on, dude. And he didn't. So but at the same time, it was kind of cool to have it feel a little bit more, almost a little bit more real time than some of the produced stuff, which I thought was great. Good. Okay, so next steps, guys. How are you following up? I think it's critical to make sure that we are taking specific steps with the people. Now, here's two things. Just going to give you two equips potentially here. Number one, you want to consider the people who actually completed. That's the people you want to make sure you follow up with the most. Even if they did just a few of the workouts, but actually engaged in it. You want to make sure you're spending some time in the next couple of days here to start to really follow, hey, how did you like it? What'd you like? What'd you learn? You could ask those specific things. And ask them, so how did you like Beachbody On Demand? Did you get a chance to check out anything else? Blah, blah, blah. Did you check out Shift Shop? Anything like that. Start to follow up with them. But then if people didn't do it, right, and they just flat out signed up, which is a lot of people, especially when something's free, if they just signed up and they didn't really do anything, follow up with them and then ask. It's like, oh, hey, guess what? That is now up. There, you can still do it all this week. You've got 14-day trial. You can still do it. You can still hit a lot of those workouts in before your trial period runs out, and we can just help discern. And remember, guys, don't go to the negative side of that so fast, where it's like, oh, you got 6 days, and then we have to make sure we cancel it for you, or because you get charged. That's like the negative way of approaching it. That's like the least amount of energy. Go the other direction and go, hey, we've got 6 days left to figure out if this is a really good fit for you. A lot of the people who had this experience, they loved it. And I just want to see if this might be a really good fit for you, because it sounded like you're really busy this past week, which is why you didn't do the workouts or whatever. So it sounds like you're busy. Why don't we actually see if this is a good fit for you this week? And maybe if it's not even that, there are other workouts on there that everything is short as 10-minute trainer. We could even try for you if that helps you just get moving. You know what I mean? So using those ideas to potentially help you engage in some conversation. So those are the two type of people. One person who actually engaged, and then you encourage them, hey, let's keep it going. Let's keep this momentum going. And then two is the person who didn't engage. How are you going to follow up with them to maybe have them potentially actually give this a shot this week? Okay? Real quick here, guys, what I'm reading. Oh, and this is from Jamie's. Literally, this is an offhand comment. Kim Fitzpatrick they're one of their live videos. If you ever watch Kim and Jamie live, it's like watching like Regis and, well, they're younger. But so Kelly and now Ryan, right? That's pretty much it. But live, and I got this from them. Yeah, we can talk to that in just a second, their stuff. But I got this in a quick comment. She was like, mentioned something about a 5-second rule. She's talking about something about mindset, 5-second rule. And, and I think James said, oh yeah, great book. And I went, oh, wait, okay. And I actually had sort of maybe heard a little bit about it, downloaded, or actually listened to a couple podcasts, and I sent those to you guys. You guys saw them, Success Podcast. There's a whole podcast on basically that outlines the whole 5-second rule. But the book itself is amazeballs. So good, guys, to help really frame your thinking, and we're going to talk about mindset a little bit more as Jamie develops here a little bit. I'm going to dig in with some things with him, but I'm reading this book, devouring it, absolutely loving it. And not only that, guys, I'm passing it on. And I would say this to you. If you're finding good resources for you personal development wise, and you're doing those, and you aren't sharing those with, first of all, your team, but even more so, guys, your challengers. Share this stuff with your challengers, especially when it's a little bit more general like this. Now, if it's like business building and social media building, of course, you're probably not going to share that so much with your challengers. But in this case, mindset building, 5-second rule, dude, I have shared the podcast with all of my challengers in my challenger, and at least 5 or 6 have already downloaded the book, and they're loving it already. So they're like the best 37. I just got a comment. Best 37 minutes I just ever are listening to that podcast, and I've downloaded the book, and I'm so excited because I want to make some progress with my mindset, which is really, really awesome. So Jamie, tell Kim thank you for that. That's great stuff. Okay. Back to so let's see. How would we convert them to a challenge pack? Have them cancel first, then send link. No, all you would do in that. Oh yeah, that's a good question. No, they could actually they could just straight up buy the challenge pack. I think buy that, and then they could cancel retro. I think. Jamie, you know on that? Any thoughts?
It came up today on our team. I mean, I would have assumed that if you buy the challenge pack and then you're locked into BOD, that they would automatically, not charge you the free trial. But another coach in our team said you have to cancel first. So I didn't actually get 100% answer on that.
We'll check in on that. So that's if you guys know, that'd be helpful. Last thing before we get rolling here, guys, I want to share this with you. Boom. Oh yeah, getting shifty. Seriously, the one like here, my jiggle wiggle was getting on. We're here jumping up and down. All right, so who did the shift shop today? Who ended up doing the free trial? Awesome. How many of you loved it? I hope you loved it, because I loved it. It was fantastic. And Chris is the deal, working out with him certainly down at Success Club. Let's hear from somebody else. So Bonnie, what were your impressions this first thing? I'll unmute you real quick. Go for it. Are you there?
Now I'm unmuted.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Yeah. I kind of liked it. I mean, right now I'm going through a knee issue, so I had to take the jumping part out, so that kind of dampened it for me. But I think he's got some good moves in there.
Yeah. And what did you think about his overall encouragement, like style, I guess you'd say, not just the moves. Like the moves are great, obviously.
Yeah. Well, it's after just doing Sean week, he's not quite the same as Sean.
No.
I think Sean's a better motivator.
Yeah, probably I'd say, and just because of experience.
Yeah.
Experience, and he's just, definitely more in your face. But honestly, I would say this, having experienced him live though, he was much more relaxed. Would you agree? Probably, Jamie, when we were live with him, he just was in his element when he was with a big group of people. So that'll just only get better. I think he'll just get better with time. And
I kind of felt he could have let me drop off, and if I didn't push myself, I would have dropped off.
Okay.
Before the end of the minute.
That's all right. Yeah, 1 minute on each move was a little bit, yeah. So Jamie, why don't we just we'll break in here, because I think it's an appropriate time to break in. So Jamie's part of the test group, guys, he's been part of that, which has been great. So let's hear from Daddy's gotta say hi. It looks like that's all good.
Sorry, my daughter.
Oh, that's totally that. Oh man, that's called Coach Life. So let's hear about your experience with the test group a little bit while we're here. So guys, this is Jamie. We'll get more into the official introduction. Jamie, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's so the workouts progress from 25 minutes in the first week to 35 and then to 45 minutes. And I know a lot of us are probably it's like 45-minute workout because we're so used to the fix and, your 25, 30-minute things. So even myself was like, wow, 45. But actually what surprised me the most is the time goes by so fast. And I'm not a long workouter. I'm not like, I don't love working out all the time. I'm not one of those fanatical people about working out, but I just found that he moves through everything so fast that I really enjoy the workout. It's definitely a sport type plyometric based workout. You can tell he's done a lot of fitness training and sport related training. I think he's got some pretty high profile clients. I don't think he's ever publicly said, but so it's good. It's different, right? And my ADD nature, I need different stuff in my life all the time. So I just like doing something new. And I'll come back to it and do it for sure when it's released, and I'll probably do it maybe later on next year too. But no, it was awesome. I enjoy it.
That's great. And I love the fact that it's 3 weeks, man, because like 3 weeks,
Yeah.
Especially here in the summertime as we were releasing it, guys, nobody wants to do 90-day program right now. Really, just being honest, no one wants to do that. So to be able to do a 30-day or 21 days and 3 weeks and just getting it rolling, I think it's cool.
Yeah, there's some people getting some crazy results in 3 weeks, and then especially after 2 rounds. So there's some people on day 43 or 44 or something like that, and like one guy's lost 26 pounds. So there's some big results.
Yep. And guys, there's definitely a difference to the nutritional plan than say it's 21-day fixed container based, but it is it's substantially, there's some key differences, and we'll get into that more, especially as it relates to grains, getting like pretty much rid of grains, and then especially by week 3. So good stuff. Okay. All right. Well, let's head into the kind of the meat part of the call here tonight, guys. I'm so excited to introduce to you my friend, Jamie Fitzpatrick, and it says 14 start diamond. I don't know.
That works.
Yeah. But you started back in January 2015, guys, and since 2015, okay? That's just over that's 24 plus 6 months, so 30 months-ish or so of doing this. 14-star diamond, SC10 legend, which is amazing. Number 6 in the company, top 10 elite, and like I said, shift shop test group, which is amazing. Top male in the company, and his wife Kim, whose number was number 47 last year, and currently 5-star elite. So, guys, I'm going to very quickly say this. We're going to open up the lines. I'm going to unmute you all. Let's give a rousing go to Jamie. Ready, go. Round of applause.
Wow.
Yes, you did. Now,
there we go. All right, Jamie, I'm going to take us off of video, or I'm going to off a screen share so we can see you. There we go. All right. So, Jamie, can we I'd love to hear a little bit about your story. I think it's always important to ground people in like how you got from where you were back in 2015 to where you are now. That would be really maybe some helpful kind of fill in some of those gaps for us. Oops, I need to unmute you. Sorry, I muted everybody when I did that.
There you go.
Good.
I like to do, I do traditional team calls where I'll get on and do a whole presentation and stuff like that. But I do like Q&A style as well, because it's, while you're getting down to the meat of people's questions, they want to know specific things. So I kind of like doing that almost more than traditional team calls. But yeah, my story is, I grew up in and I won't go too far back, but I grew up in a very small town in Canada. I'm Canadian A, as you can tell from my hat. I taught high school for a while, and then I stopped teaching high school, and my brother and I opened up a company. We had a chain of retail stores that were pet stores, and we franchised out that concept. I basically sold that and got out of that in 2009. What happened though in that company is, it comes with a lot of stresses, and we brought in a business partner and it did not go well. And I knew very quickly, I'm not the type to stay in something I don't enjoy. I knew very quickly that it was not going to go well. And just our vision was differently. But what came with that is we started butting heads with each other, with our franchisees and franchisors. Legal stuff started to happen, and I just got super stressed out about it all. And I'm about and not that it's all about weight, but I'm about 195. I'm about 195 now. That's comfortable weight for me. I got up to almost 250 pounds, and that was strictly through self-medication with food, alcohol, you name it. Like, I was not a happy person, and that's kind of how I dealt with all the stress of it all. And we just had our son. Our son's 8 now, so yeah, it's about 8 years ago. And I was watching TV one night. I was a chronic, I'd order pizza and ice cream, and just that's how I dealt with stuff. And drank a lot too. And one night, I think the Tony Horton infomercial came on. And I've always been an athletic guy. Like, I've always been in fairly good shape growing up, played a lot of sports. But so something about the Tony Horton infomercial, it intrigued me. And I guess I was just at a low. So I ordered that. And that was the start of my journey. And I lost a ton of weight. I got down to about 170, maybe 176, 175. So I lost it. So yeah, I was almost like getting to a point though where I was getting a little gaunt, and like, because I was addicted to it at that point, right? And that's my personality. I'm like, I have an obsessive personality, and it's good and bad in a lot of ways. It lets you focus on stuff, but unfortunately, you gotta focus on the good stuff and be obsessed with the good stuff, not the bad stuff. So I'm aware of that with myself now, but and then I put on some muscle and through other programs and stuff like that. But that was my introduction to Beachbody. And then my wife got into the workouts. And so for the next kind of 5, 6, 7 years, we ordered all the DVD sets. Like, we've literally got almost all of them. Coaching hadn't come to Canada till I think 2013 maybe, or 12, something like that. Shakeology was new to Canada, and my wife and I were both drinking Shakeology for 2 to 3 years. And I tell everyone this on every team call I can. And this is why you have to invite people to this opportunity. And I know you hear it a lot, and I know it gets, you're like, oh, inviting, because it's probably one of the hardest things for coaches to do. And unfortunately, it's one of the most important. Is that, my wife and I were customers for 8, 9 years, Shakeology drinkers for 3 years on our own. Not once did anybody ever invite us to an accountability group, to a coach sneak peek. I didn't even really know about coaching. So in that 7 or 8 years, we didn't get, and we actually posted stuff on social media. It's not like we were just dormant on Facebook. We were actually active people. And so it kind of goes to show you that, everyone's always like, oh, it's so saturated, or there's lots of coaches. And it's only because you are coaches and you see so many in your newsfeed. But there are people out there who want to work the business. You just have to find them. And you never know when that next person you reach out to, and I don't say this with ego, but like, I tell people, we'd look pretty good on people's downline. That's the reality. And that's why you invite, because you just never know who that next person is who's going to really run with it and be passionate about it. And literally it almost is like the number of coaches you add isn't as important as maybe who you add, So that's why you got to keep reaching out to people. You just have to, because you never know. And every time I invite someone to a sneak peek or to this opportunity, or even as a client to join a challenge group, I always envision in the back of my mind that this person, not only am I going to change their life, and I really believe that. I believe everyone, I'm going to change their life in some way. But that person can change my life too. And I think you have to go in with that attitude. It's a two-way street here. We're giving ourselves to each other and stuff. And they offer stuff to you and you offer stuff to them. And that's the beauty of this business, right?
Now, so Jamie, I think one of the things I've heard you talk about, because I watch some of your team calls sometimes, is you talk about this posture. You talk about posture, like the posture that you approach people with. And that just seems to, like what you just said there, seems to ring pretty true. Because if you approach someone with a posture that says, well, they're probably barely going to get through this workout program, and, they might stay on Shakeology just for the month, like, they're probably going to almost fulfill that, right? I mean,
yep.
Versus if you approach them in a, not like overly, like, you're the, like way too excited, but, finally, can you speak to that at all? Like how the posture really affects that?
Yeah, it's posture, it's tone. I mean, it really boils down to confidence. It's like you can tell if someone is working on themselves, not only from a physical fitness point, or mental point when they walk into a room. Like you can see when someone walks into a room, what's going on in their life. You really can. If you really notice and are observant, when you're at a party, you watch different people walk into a room, and people carry themselves very differently. And that's part of the conversations you have with people too. Like the tone that you express. And I'm not a verbal wizard. I'm actually a very shy person. I don't really like to be in social situations that much. So I'm not like this gift of the gab guy who's going to go, and I'm not Mr. Social at all. I call myself actually a situational extrovert, which I can be extroverted, but it depends on the situation. Sure. But yeah, and I think that just boils down to like, if you're having problem, I hate to use the word selling, but that's the term I'm going to use. If you're having problems getting clients or selling challenge packs, if that's your problem and you are putting in the effort, it's one thing if you're not putting in the effort, but if you're really putting the effort and you're having trouble there, well, it's probably something to do with your belief system on what you're actually doing. And that kind of boils down to the confidence in the programs, the confidence you have in the programs. Or you're not dealing with something in your own life that's allowing you to release whatever is going on, and because probably maybe consciously, subconsciously, and I don't want to get too, woohoo, but as I believe this, I think that, what you carry into that conversation, the tone and what you believe, like I said, subconscious, that carries over into your discussion, your confidence in the tone and how you come across to people.
Yeah. So true. And it's like everything. So guys, the recommendation of the 5-second rule, it's so true. And it's like, so if you are replaying, like, this will probably fail. This will probably fail. I'm going to be really bad. And then that's all you do. You're going to fulfill it.
It's a lot of self-talk, right? We talk to ourselves constantly. We don't realize it all the time, but we're constantly talking to ourselves, and that can be incredibly powerful or incredibly detrimental. And the sad part is most people speak far more negative stuff to them or limiting belief stuff than positive stuff. And that comes down to, I know, again, you hate to hear this all the time. It does come down to PD. That's why I do so much PD. That's why I listen to it in the car. Not anymore because I'm not driving for my work, but that's all I would listen to, because I view personal development as it's this armor that you just build up, and it thickens the armor on you as the more you do, and it just, you don't even notice it, but that comes through in your conversations with people. And that's everything. It's not price, you guys. That's just the excuse people are giving you. It's not the price of the challenge pack, because we all know the value is incredible, especially the new challenge pack with what you get for it. They're giving you that excuse, but it's probably they're not realizing, or you're not at least coming across as the person who's going to move the needle on their life. There's something in your tone or lack of confidence in the conversation that's probably not having them like, this is the person that's going to change what I'm doing. And that's the tone that you have to come across with. And if you don't feel confident in what you're talking about, you got to do some work on that then. And you got to practice, like literally practice doing that. Practice those little go-to lines that you have with people, not lines, but they're statements that'll feel comfortable for you. So I try to do a lot of work with our coaches on that, on things to do and those windows of sale opportunities that you have, because that is what it is, but it's not the price. It's something that you're not expressing, or maybe it's a confidence thing. But the good news is you can work on that. You really can. Yeah.
So that's a skill set ultimately to develop versus an innate ability that you've been blessed with, or that the universe.
Yeah.
You are a salesperson now. It's like, no, that doesn't happen. That takes over time, and to develop some of those ways to either shift the conversation in a positive direction versus out of if they're a challenge. Yeah. And dealing with those objections. So that's great stuff. Okay. So Jamie, you, I think you had, you talked a little bit about, I wanted to get specifically into the mindset, which you were kind of heading here with this whole conversation. And as mindset matters, I'd love to hear, first of all, what are you listening to, reading right at this given moment in your coaching career? What's helped? And then what would you also recommend to a newer coach who might just be sort of getting started? So I'd hear maybe both of those, and then we'll start to open it up to other folks here as well.
Yeah, I'll start with the second question just because it's on my mind. I mean, I recommend the Miracle Morning. There's one with and for network marketers. I love that one. I think it's a great starting book for new coaches. It's what I send to new coaches that sign up is I send it through Amazon to them. I start the first 2 books, because I didn't do personal development before coaching. Not a lot anyway. I'd listen to the odd thing, Tony Robbins stuff, but the first 2 books I read were The Compound Effect and The Slight Edge. They're kind of an older style book, but those are the ones I started with. And the 2 big ones that I've been probably in the last 6 months been recommending are the 10X rule and the 12-week year. I love the 12-week year just because it breaks your goals down, So those are kind of my go-tos. And then, because of my job, I was driving so much. I was a big podcast guy. So I do a lot of Lewis Howes just because I like the people he has on and their different perspectives. The Tony Robbins one is okay, although I don't find he's on there as much. It's more other people on his thing. So I like listening to him. Mel Robbins I've been listening to a little bit as well. Trying to think if any other jump out at me. Yeah, those are kind of my go-tos for the most part.
Great. Yeah, Success Podcast itself is actually,
yes.
Magazine is really, they just come stellar people, which, that's good stuff. Oh, and Entre Leadership, of course, if you have that Entre Leadership.
Yeah.
Good. So that's great. All right, let's open it up here a bit, guys. We've got Jamie here, a lot of wisdom. I think, so I would consider you also as well. You can probably ask, because he's married to Kim, and that there would probably, so some of you, because we have much more majority female team, so if there's questions that might relate to the husband and wife, like I'm trying to work the business and blah, blah, like some of those kind of dynamics kind of things might be helpful as well. So what do you have, guys? Question, open up the line. Love to hear from you guys.
Ask anything.
And very specific if you need to. What you got? It's always going to take 1 or 2 people to get it rolling.
All right, Jamie?
Hey, how are you?
Hey, it's Claire.
Hi, Claire.
So I've been a coach under Dan for over 3 years now. I became Diamond, and now I'm just treading water, trying to get it back. But my thing with, so my husband was into it at the beginning, and he drank the shakes, and but he didn't do the workouts, and so it's been kind of difficult, just that relationship, trying to work the business and have a family. And I'm a mother of 4, so I have 4 at home. Well, I'm a mother of 6, but 2 are out of the house, but
Wow.
4 are at home. And I work full time. So I can totally relate to you guys, and I love seeing your videos. And I just, I guess I just wish my husband was more like, Kim. And how did you guys click right away together, or was there some kind of, I guess you did answer, you've been doing it together for several years. But as far as coaching, you came on and then she came on a little later. Is that how that worked?
It took me about 8 to 10 months to actually sign on once I learned about coaching. I was scared like everyone else, right? You start something new, it's scary. And I knew because of the nature, like when I get into something, I'm all in. I'm not a toe dipper. I just can't, I jump in the lake. And so I knew once I started, I knew it was like going to change my life. I really did. And I'm not saying that in like, I was going to be able to retire from my job and be top 10. That's not what I mean. I knew that if I was going to try this, I was going to be 190% all in. And I was going to try it for as long as it took. And I knew it would change my life that way from a free time perspective, what I was doing in my life. So when I started coaching, Kim was very much on board. She was like, no, I think it's great. Go for it. But she was too busy with her corporate job. So she thought. And then always supportive though, would like, she'd go to work and even bring challengers and coach. She'd be like, hey, someone wants to coach, cool, but I'd kind of do all of that stuff. And then about 6 months in, after she was my first client. She was in the accountability groups. And then once she realized that in the group she started actually coaching people, then she kind of jumped in about 6 months.
Yeah.
6 months. And she actually went to an event, and that just was like, flipped her whole switch.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, I love this. I want to do this. But it's not easy either as a couple. Like it's you got to really take your ego out of it. And that's hard to do because we've all got one, and even like last year going into the last quarter when I was pushing for top 10 and it was like a dog fight. Like I didn't sleep a whole lot. And Kim was pushing for elite. So we, at that point in our business, a lot of people would come to us and be like, I want to coach with you guys. Okay. And we'd look at each other and be like, so
who does he go with?
Yeah. And that's a hard discussion to have sometimes, right? I mean, we're very much aligned on our family goals and economic goals because that's just how our marriage works and stuff. But yeah, it's not easy. It's still not always easy. Like it's because your ego gets involved and we have to have some very honest discussions with ourselves. I mean, as far as your spouse goes, well, and I don't want to get too personal, but have you ever you have 6 children, so maybe it's tougher to do. But have you ever like sat him down on the couch when the kids are in bed and explained to him just how important this is to you?
Yeah, well, actually, I signed up in November, and that following summer, 2014, we went to Vegas together. So, I mean, he's been in the whole scene. He's seen it. He's never gone to Super Saturdays, and he's been a coach. He is a coach under me now, but he went off for a while, and then now he's back. But I think it's just a personality. I mean, for you, Kim has got a, just outgoing personality. So it's all, natural, everything. But if you have a spouse that's a real introvert and not social, that's a hard thing. I mean, I don't expect him to be like the coach to get people under him, but I just want him to be supportive of me. So that's really what it all boils down to, And just kind of like, I don't know if Melanie Mitro, if her husband is actually working the business or if she works it for him, kind of like that spouse that's, supportive in other ways. Yeah. Like cooking or whatever. That's all I want him to be. So, I was just curious about yours.
Yeah, no, I had a discussion with Melanie about it actually, and she's like, Matt doesn't do much with the actual business, but he kind of does everything else that needs to get done, sort of. I mean, the question is sort of, again, not to get into your relationship, but the question is why wouldn't he support you? And then you've got to figure out like, what are those reasons? Does he feel like it's taking away from other stuff? There's a lot of questions in there that maybe shouldn't be answered on a Zoom call. but feel free to reach out to Kim or I or at any time if you want some more insight, because maybe we could answer it sort of off camera.
Okay. No worries, but thank you.
No problem.
All right, so I'm going to ask this particular question. So Jamie, you just got done being elite top 10, and you are currently still that, and you just got a chance to travel to Italy. So let's give me like the 1 or 2 minute scoop on Italy. Like, what was that like for you?
Well, I still consider myself a new coach, and sometimes and it's interesting. There's this Facebook group called The Wall. It's 5-star diamonds and above, and they put everyone in there, and there's different stuff happens. And Ruth Schauner, who I think she's in the top 10 right now, but she made a post about how, and you guys may not believe this or anything, but I still don't know if I belong or whatever that means. Like I'm still like you. I'm one of the most highly unorganized human beings you will ever meet. There's a lot of things I don't do very well in my business. I don't track people very well. I could invite a lot better. I'm just kind of like, a lot of the times I'm flying by the seat of my pants, I feel like, and I could go on and on about the things I'm not very good at. So that trip, me going on that trip and looking around, I literally, you compare yourself, because that's what humans do. And I looked around a lot of the time wondering, should I be here? Do I belong here? And stuff like that. The trip was fantastic. What I will say is not that it surprised me, but I've never been to Europe ever. Neither has Kim. The scenery was beautiful. Amalfi Coast is amazing. Like the way Beachbody treats you, you're staying in 5-star hotels. Like they fly you first class, stuff I've never done before. But the best part of the trip was the other coaches and their spouses on it. And I'm not just saying that. Like, they were the nicest, most genuine, most normal people. And the moral of this long story is that we are all very much alike. We've all got insecurities. We all do stuff really poorly. Some of us do stuff really well. They're not that much different from other people. I think maybe one thing that separates, just being with them for a full week, those other top 10 people, they are obsessively passionate about this business, and they're willing to like work extremely hard at their business. And I'm not saying none of you are, but they are sharks for this business. Like, they want success so bad for their family that it's just that's the feeling I got from all of them. It's not a 60% in, it's not even a 99% in. It is 180% go, because they realize the short-term sacrifice that changes their life. They're just willing to do things in the short term that 95% of coaches, with all due respect, probably aren't willing to do short term, because they realize that, and for a lot of those coaches, they're in year 5, 6, and 7, man, they don't have to worry about anything ever again, because they've sacrificed so much those 3 to 5 years. And that's hard it's not human nature to do that. Like, we all want immediate gratification in our lives. That's what we want. We just want to chill out on the couch, mind-numbing show on TV a lot of the time, because life is hard and it's stressful, especially with kids. So it's hard to not do that stuff and to just go and say, I'm going to work my business. That's what I noticed from that trip. And just being around those people is there is that want and need to succeed from them.
Yeah. And so, Jamie, I think the thing that I've discerned too as well in this is the fact that I think a lot of folks, so I would agree, anybody on our team here would probably agree that we can probably be really good for a week or two. Like, really good. Like, I am inviting, I'm connecting, I've sold some challenge, I've got some coaches, I'm really good week or two. But to keep that up, that energy and that momentum up for a long enough period, right? Because it seems like here, there seems to be this, with all that life throws at you, is probably the difference between the people who really succeed, who can keep it going within all of that. Would you agree? Is that probably pretty accurate? I mean, yeah.
110%. It's not easy, but it's easy to play up here for a shorter time frame, right? Because it maximizes you emotionally, mentally. I just think the difference is, and it doesn't matter what industry, what sports, athletic, the people who can play up here for a longer period of time, they just excel. And that's the whole compound effect. That's it. It's like, if you can do that over a full year, man, that's just all those actions that you've done over the full year are just compounding and compounding, where if you spend a week out of every 8 weeks working really hard, it's kind of hard work, but you get kind of results from that. It's just, it's one of those things that, what I love about this business, there's elements of luck, depending on, you might find a coach that rocks it and it was kind of lucky finding them. But what I like about this business is I think it's very fair. And I think you get exactly out of it what you put into it for the most part. And here's the other thing. I think everyone's definition of hard work is different. what you think is maybe a 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10, I might go, that's actually a 4, to be honest with you. And I don't know any of you, so I don't know what level of work ethic you put into your business, but that's the difference. I could look at that and go, well, that's kind of a 5 out of 10, actually. You're actually not working that hard, and vice versa. There might be people who look at me and go, wow, you're about a 7 out of 10. Yeah. Melanie Metro might look at me and go, well, you could actually work harder. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I always think too that I always relate that to parenting, right? So it just coming to Claire there for a second. So the parent who has one kid and is overwhelmed completely, and it's like I can't, and then the person who has 6 kids, it's just all what you're used to, potentially the level of how hard it is, you know what I mean? And I think that's some of that too. Okay, guys, let's open it up. What else? What other questions do you have? Let's hear it. Stephanie, hear from you.
Yeah, I'm just curious as far as, obtaining new leads and challengers. Is Facebook, and I know you do like the Facebook Live videos, is that your primary platform, or are you using like other channels, Instagram, or ads or anything like that to draw in your challengers and customers?
Well, I mean, Live's been around now for what, 10 months, a year? Time goes by so fast. Maybe a year, I can't even remember. So before that, I mean, obviously we couldn't do Live, but we do Live now every day. And we actually do Live in about, well, right now we're running a lot of groups. So we always go, if we're running a free group, we go live every day. Our accountability group, we go live every day. And then if we're transitioning to a new group, we'll go live in that one. And then we'll try to go live as much as possible on our personal page. Then sometimes we'll go live for 5 minutes on our fitness page, and then live on our team page. So we use that as an advantage because we feel like for Kim and I, and our personality, and I think this goes for anybody, that's how people get to know who you are. And we're pretty, we don't, like, that's on Live, like we do dumb stuff and we kind of joke and we're just being us, but like that's what people want. They also want to see our flaws, and they want to see us, be stupid or silly. And so I just think Live is like, that's the ultimate authenticity piece of this business that a lot of people are missing, because it's really hard to get to know you if you're not doing it. Yeah, you can do the posts and stuff, and yeah, you can maybe send them voice notes and stuff, but going live every day, they really get a feel for who you are as a person. And then when you get into that conversation about a challenge pack, 80% of the work is already done, because before you had to like prove who you were. You had to prove that you were legit, that you cared about them. You had to prove your personality comes out on Live Facebook. So back to your original question, we don't count on Live for that, but it's definitely helped us sell challenge packs, because we'll do specific things on Live, and then 5 minutes after, either Kim or I'll get a message for someone saying, okay, I'm interested, what's going on? I have advertised on Facebook. I've spent a fair amount of money on it. I mean, a percentage of our income on it. But it's definitely not a driver for our business. Like, I wouldn't recommend anyone go out and start spending a bunch of money on ads. I don't think that's the end all be all. I think a lot of people are doing that. And so what happens is ads get more expensive that way. A lot more coaches are doing them. So it gets a bit salesy because everyone's seeing all these sponsored ads now. But yeah, we primarily have used Facebook since day one as our primary thing, but we're now, in the last probably 4 to 6 months, we're really getting into Instagram and trying to tackle that. Kim's getting quite good at that and reaching out. And there's a lot of Instagram training out there. It doesn't matter what platform though you use. You have to work really hard at either one and reach out to people and message and like their stuff. And it's Facebook and Instagram they're different platforms, because Instagram more is picture like, and Facebook's little, they're different, but the amount of effort you still need to put into them and the vital behaviors is kind of like the same. One isn't going to work better than the other if you tackle them with the same amount of work ethic. I think you have to be really diligent in both of them. I think Instagram's better for attracting coaches, maybe. Facebook better for clients, I would say. But let me say this too, and this is actually one of the things that Jessica and I are speaking on at Summit is challenge groups. And so I still think that's the key to the business. Like us being a little bit higher profile coaches now, we do have people come out and say, hey, I see you're top, I want to join your team. That didn't happen, obviously, the first year of the business because we were like, no one knew who we were either. So, but, 18 of our diamonds, 18 signed up as clients who just wanted to lose weight first. So we had 18 diamonds that have signed up as clients, went through the process, fell in love with the program, lost weight, felt better. We reached out to them and thought they'd make great coaches, and then they turned into coaches and then turned into diamond coaches. So I think the accountability group is the way to build this, because you need people to fall in love with the program. It's really hard to, I think, just join as a business opportunity. For us, most of those people haven't worked for us. It's just, you really got to love sort of Beachbody, I feel like, and love what it does. So I don't know if I answered your question, but
You did, but that just brings you up to another question. When you sign a customer up for a challenge pack, I just feel like now that they've gone with the all access, it's a little harder to switch them from challenger to coach. And, there's not that success club point, advantage either.
yeah.
Do you typically sign your customers up as customers, or do you sign them up right away as coaches?
Two-part to the question, because it's changed with that. But coming up in the end of June, there's a new challenge pack. It's just Shakeology plus the fixed containers for I think US it's I don't know what it is,
140.
Yeah. So that's a way you can, if people are just on BOD or something, you could technically switch them over easier that way, I think. I, from day one, switched everyone over to Disco Coach as much as I could. It's why my actual volume is quite low every week, because I turned everyone into coaches. My thinking was, I had big goals. I wanted to get to 5-star and then beyond. I thought that was my first thing. If I wanted to do anything with this business, I wanted to do that. Kim and I also had corporate jobs, so we didn't necessarily need the income from Beachbody. So I didn't necessarily need all the commissions from clients. But what I knew is that I knew I wanted to build a really big team. And I thought if I switched more people over as a discount coach, they were more likely to actually do the coaching eventually. And that's true. I've had about 2 or 3 diamonds that started as discos, just wanting the discount, and then turned into full active coaches. So that's been my philosophy, is to turn as many people as coaches as possible. But you kind of have to weigh out your income goals and what you want. Because I think short term, you make more money by signing up customers and keeping them as customers. Definitely short term. But bigger thinking, where what I was thinking from the start is I want to build a massive team of people. So why wouldn't I turn as many coaches as possible?
Yeah. And I would say even, as hitting past that, the 2-star initial, once you get past that 2-star, guys, just would say that's really where it pays off. But if you're only vision for this is maybe diamond someday is the top, you're going to have to be a little bit more discerning. But the fact when you do get to that that 2-star point, that's when the magic of the multi-level marketing system really makes things happen. And that's what it's going to take. It really does take. You're going to have more coaches. That's what.
The other thing I never wanted to have happen either, though, is I never wanted to someone who'd been on Shakeology for 12 months coming to me and going, hey, so-and-so told me I could get this cheaper. That happened to me. So that's, I think of that too. It's what's the period where someone is a customer that you kind of be like, okay, you can get this actually cheaper. So something to think about.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Quick question, real fast here. What, if you're giving advice to coaches, as you've experienced coaches across the network and within your own team, 2 pieces. What would you have them do more of, and what would you have them do less of?
Tough questions.
And I think the second one is even more. I think the first one's probably a little bit pretty easy, relatively, somewhat easier. But
let's do the second one.
Go for it.
I'll do the second one first. Yeah. I think less time on worrying about graphics in your posting and stuff. Depending on what level of where you are in the business, I think people maybe waste too much time on that stuff. I think I think the content in your post is far more important than the actual picture, although pictures are important and stuff. People have to know you, like they have to get to know you. And I can tell if I go to an active coach who's trying to work the business, I can tell really quickly when I don't see any pictures of them on their wall that there's some self-limiting beliefs there in what's happening. And that's, people aren't buying a challenge pack. They're buying you. They're buying the hope that you can change your life. So if they don't know you and don't see any pictures of you, that says something. It means there's some blocks up there for you. They have to get to know you. So I think people might spend too much time on that stuff. But man, on what I think they should do more of, I probably think coaches don't do enough of commenting and liking on other people's posts.
So engagement and connection.
Engagement. I think people maybe invite, maybe. I mean, you could always say invite more, because that's the skill that, you can do as much as you want, but that's kind of a no-brainer. But I think probably people don't spend time on going through potential people's, and it doesn't have to be unauthentic. It's not that, but like take an interest in what they're doing and go on their Facebook page and comment and like, because the very first thing, I know I still do it, the very first thing people do when you get a comment or a like on one of your things, you're like, oh, what, they haven't, that's you. They immediately go to their page.
Yep, you're right.
What, I wonder what they're doing. Click. And that's why when you do that, when you do invite and you do comment and like on other people's stuff, not coaches, don't do that, please. On potential people's stuff, that's why it's really important you follow that up with intentful posting on your page, so that when they go to your page, your banner is something to do with your lifestyle, wellness, fitness, family, faith, whatever. And your posts are going to tell a story of who you are, what you do, what you love, what you're about. Because if you're doing all that other stuff and they come to your page and they see 10 pictures of cats, sorry if you love cats, if that's all they see, she loves cats. Awesome. Me too. Moving along.
Yeah.
Well, but if she goes and people look at your page like it's a magazine, right? So they go to your page, and if they go through your last 5 or 10 posts and they're like, oh, what's this? She's got a picture of a before and after, and maybe not even you, but someone else. Like, that's where that has to happen. Everything is part and parcel. You have to have all those moving parts in place, or if you have missing gaps, they're going to stop at like, if they don't see anything on your wall that's relative to that or what you're doing, it's like, then you might as well not even be commenting and liking. It has to go together.
Yes, totally. And so guys are going to make a recommendation here to you. If you would it's actually, it was on 4 months ago. So it was February 16th, 2017. You go to YouTube, and if you search Jamie Fitzpatrick on YouTube, it's their team call. It's actually talking about Mel Robbins, which is kind of fun, which is 5-second rule, and intentful posting. Okay, watch that call, guys. I'll tell you, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. It's actually Mel Robbins. She has a little clip, a local video clip. Remember that one? And he talks about intentful posting, which I think is so brilliant, which is great.
That's one of my favorite calls.
Yeah.
I thought it turned out well.
It's great. Such great content, guys. Actually, all of Jamie's calls, I really recommend you on occasion popping over there and checking those out. All right, one final question here. Let's see. Anybody's dying to ask one final question before we close out here? We're about time. All right. Let's see. We had – so Peggy's on. Anybody? Jeanette, you raised your hand. Nope. It looked like. Was that you?
You were frozen.
Oh, sorry. Jeanette, did you have a question?
I did. Hey, it's nice to meet you guys, or meet you. I'm one of those during people. I've lost 112 pounds right now.
Wow.
8 to 10 dress sizes, depending on who's the stylist. I still have about 80 pounds to go. So I'm in that process. So my before pictures, you can see some changed. It's not as dramatic as a lot of other people. What I'm starting to wonder is, as I'm putting all this energy out and I'm really starting to work the business, I've spent a lot of time building up, getting to know people, doing a lot of the Facebook liking and conversing right now. How do I change and transition those likes and people that are interested, people that will, if I talk about my weight loss or my journey, will immediately start liking? I know they're interested in it, but I think because they're not seeing as maybe a quick of a result or a transition with my body, even though, I'm doing the program and working out, I'm wondering, how do I help transition people into clients or coaches while I'm still
in process,
shrinking my body, so to speak?
So are you posting before and afters?
No, I don't have a lot of before and afters. I was one of those people that basically kind of hid. So I'm trying to build up the before and afters and kind of do a during right now.
Congratulations, first of all.
Yeah, thanks.
That's amazing. Wow, that's not easy to do.
No, it's not. This is my second time around. I lost 140 and then put 180 back on previously.
I think my best advice would be, I think you need to invite people to just join you on your journey. And I think you need to post that, like if I was to go on your wall, your Facebook wall, and look at the last 2 months, even month, how many times would I see you talking about your journey and how much weight you've lost right now, and how, what I'm trying to say? Like,
yeah,
I don't think it's important. I don't think the before and after pictures are as important as, are you telling the story of your life and your journey? Like, are you telling people what you've been through? Are you telling people that I've lost this much weight, but I've got this much more to go? Like, are you inviting them into that process with you? Are you inviting them to join you on this?
Yeah, probably not as much as I could. I think I've held off because I didn't want it to seem like all I was doing was spamming about my weight loss. And that might be my mental block that I need to work through and just let it go and do it. So I am aware of that.
It's kind of like I have huge opinions on caring about what other people think. And I won't share them with you on this call. But it's a pet peeve of mine, of like, because I just think it holds people back so much. And I think the mindset I would have if I was you is that, you have the potential with what you're doing in your story and how much weight you've lost and all that. You have the potential to really help other women out there, like big time. Like, you really have the potential to do that. Like, what a shame that you're allowing people to rent space in your brain, or you're allowing people to, listen, you say you're worried about spamming, but you're just sharing your life. How's that spamming? You're not posting the challenge pack price on your wall with all the, the whole, just share what you're doing. And that's not spamming. That's just, and if people aren't interested in what you're doing in your journey, they won't watch. And you know what? The message isn't for them then anyway. It's for the 2 or 3 or 5 or 20 or 50, whatever it comes to, people who you're really going to help. And that's who I focus on when I just don't care what people think anymore. I'm way too old for that. And I've helped way too many people to from day one, if we now, and I'm not saying this out of ego, because I'm a very humble person. Like, we have about 1,700 people in my downline now, coaches. You think about how many people have been helped since I started as a Beachbody coach. What a shame if I'd cared what my buddies, and I'm a guy's guy, like, I'm into sports, I drink beer, I've got a lot of dudes who don't get what I'm doing, a lot of old friends. Like, do you think if I cared what they thought, imagine how little of impact our team would have had on people, and I think that's kind of how you have to view this. You're doing so much more good than who that your aunt, whoever, cares about what you're doing and thinks you're spamming. That stuff, let it, because I let the positive so far outweigh that for me that it never enters my brain to care what other people think. And that's not always easy. I get it. Like, I'm not saying it's easy, but I think you have to focus on the impact you can have.
Great. Thank you.
Jamie, I love that you say that phrase quite often. I've heard you say it. It was just renting mental space. When you allow that little choir of people, and it's usually about 2 to 3, 4 people that might be those the critics, or even the 2 hecklers. Remember the Muppets, like the 2 guys up in the balcony. Hey, what do you think? That's what we can't let them and then they just literally suppress all that goodness that's inside of us, and that needs to be let out for the people who really do care. So
it's like, that can be really expensive rent.
Yeah.
it can change who you are, who you become, your family's future. Kim and I know you guys have, I won't take up too much more of your time. Kim and I had a close friend. We were about a month into coaching, and she literally laughed in our face at a party in front of people about what we were doing. She said, "It will never work. It's ridiculous. This is beneath you," she said, and laughed in our face. And if we could have easily, let that really affect us, but it actually kind of drives us. And it's like, well, yeah, look who's kind of laughing now. But that's, that's, if we had listened to her, who knows, So
one quick question here too, I think is it best to have separate page for the fitness Beachbody, or throw it in on my personal page with family stuff as well? And there was basically that one person posted about avoiding muffins at work and was requested to be taken down because a parent had brought them in and be perceived as ungrateful. And so, yeah.
I'm just reading it now. Sorry.
No worries.
I was understanding Debbie. I posted something. Oh, I see. I don't know if I'd personally worry about muffins, but that's just my personality. But I get it though. I get it. Parents can be sensitive and stuff. We literally double post on our personal page and our fitness page, even family stuff, because I view the fitness page as that's sort of the advertising page for us. Or we'll get people from our fitness page that we don't know, like our cold market, and we'll try to bring them over to our personal page. Because on our personal page, I feel is where they get to know us better. Not everyone feels this way, but that's what we do. And then if I do want to run like a free group or something, maybe we'll boost a post on our like page, get a bunch of people and bring them over as friends and stuff. And then if that kind of makes sense, but we double post everything. We post the same stuff on both pages.
Yeah. And so, yeah, guys, just saying, if you did want to try to create a separate page, like a fitness page like this, where many of you are at, that's a long road. Just being real, to get from 0 to really a lot of like to build a big, like only to do that only is what I'm saying. So and that's why I would say, like, if you did want to go that route, is what Jamie's saying, was where you almost do some double posting where you've got both. But if you just you only did your on a professional page, you really have to pay to play in a lot of that in order to get stuff seen. And I just would encourage you that it's hard.
Yeah. Jeanette had a question. Is there a type of page that you set that second page up? It's a like page or a business page. I don't know if there's that many options for it. I'm trying to think. I have a training video on setting up your business page. It's on YouTube. I just don't know if the settings are public or not, but if you want the link to that, any of you just send me a message if you want, and I'll flip you the YouTube link to it if you're interested in how to set up a Facebook page or a like page. It's fairly simple, but it walks you kind of through step by step. So.
All right. Well, great stuff, Jamie. Wow. Thank you so much for the specifics and like some of the little bit of behind the nuts and bolts kind of stuff here, which is really, really helpful. I think it's great to hear talk theory, but sometimes it's just great to hear like some specifics there, which is great. So guys, we're gonna make sure that this is posted to the team page, so you can check that out and make sure for future if you want to kind of re-listen to some of these things, and then also refer your downline and people who may have missed the call. So we'd love to have that. So can we give it up for Jamie one more time, guys? So thank you, really appreciate it, man, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Okay.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thanks again. See you.
Thanks, guys.